What's up, guys? Yandere Neko here, and the newest death battle dropped, so let's get into it. I'll be pleasantly surprised if Seaman wins, but I have to bet Kyle on this because short history on the matchup. This got popular in Season 5, Season 6, because everybody was getting tired of the Marvel DC win streak, right? But at the time, they capped DC at like Universal and quadrillions of times FTL. Still bodies the majority of fiction, but you could like name a series or two that can beat that. With modern scaling, Gurren Lagann fans might have played themselves. So I'd be happy if they win, but I'm not sure. Without further ado, let's get into it. Ooh, loving the hand-drawn animation, I will say.
Simone the
My
Digger,
goat,
Kyle Rayner, the White Lantern. Two men born of Earth with the willpower to pierce the heavens and conquer infinity. He's with
Fuck
my
Kyle.
boomstick,
I'm
and
going
it's our job to
Simone.
analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
1 second. I don't have my shiny eyes.
Deep underground, Jiha village lived in dreary isolation, oblivious to the wider world above their squalid cave. That's where the hero of our story comes in. The young man who would lead his comrades into the sunlight at last. Kamina,
Let's
the
go,
great and mighty.
Kamina.
Oh, and his little brother from another mother, Simone.
I
he was there too, I
fucking love
guess.
Kamina.
Simone was a digger,
Kamina's
content to
a
drill
giga
endlessly through the
chad.
dirt, until the day he found the core drill.
Simone.
A key that activated the mysterious buried mech that Kamina named Lagann. Under his magnificently masculine leadership, Kamina finally drilled their way to freedom, seeing the sun after a life
See,
in
like,
the dark.
Gurren
But the sky
Lagann
was
is
by
just
no
peak
means the
anime.
limit.
I
The surface was
binged
ruled
it
by the
all the
cruel
way
chimeric
through.
beastmen, and Kamina would lead his compatriots
It's
against
the
them to
sword
reclaim
man.
the Earth for humanity, scoring a second mech in the process, aptly named Gurren. And as befits Kamina and Simone's unbreakable brotherly bond, Gurren and Lagann merged, creating Gurren Lagann.
By
With
just
Kamina piloting the body and
jamming
Simone
the head
these
into
two
the
were
body.
unstoppable. Of all the giant fighting robots in all the animes across history, Gurren Lagann might just be the absolute coolest, fueled by its pilot's willpower and capable of making any weapon they can imagine, including missiles, a jetpack, a sunglasses boomerang, and of course, drills!
All
Wrist-mounted
the
drills,
drills.
kunai drills, shield drills, kamehameha drills, and everyone's favorite, the Giga
Giga
Drill
Drill
Breako!
Breako!
Side note, it is so funny that the only thing they could think of was drills. That's like if I made booze or something, my whole personality.
Hey, Genshin.
With Gurren Lagann's awesome power, Kamina laid waste to enemy forces, liberated human villages, and fomented a rebellion against the Beastmen King, Lord Genome. Until Kamina
No!
died.
Kamina!
Oh, wait, shit, was that supposed to happen?
Kamina.
Nope, and it was all Simone's fault. He let his willpower waver, and his soul brother
Would've
paid the
been
price. After
Would've
all,
been
he
me.
was just a humble digger, at home in the darkness.
You know, they really gotta emphasize the D when they say digger, because, you know, you say that too quickly and it might sound like you had a heated game moment, you know?
Guided solely by the light
Yeah.
of Kamina's
The
spirit.
D.
So his big bro left him with these final words. Have faith in the Simone who believes in you. Damn. Kamina was the one
Pretty
looking up to
base.
him the whole time. It was Simone who found Lagann, Simone who pierced the surface, and Simone who would now lead humanity to victory. Especially with his gal pal Nia at his side, who helped pull him out of his rut and kick Lord Genome's ass. But victory only lasted 7 years before the anti-spiral attacked. Unimaginably
this is when
powerful
the
godlike
scale
aliens,
gets
the anti-spiral feared humanity's
crazy.
potential, what they dubbed the spiral nemesis. Remember how Gurren Lagann runs on fighting spirit? Turns out that's just a manifestation of spiral power, an energy that all spiral beings, like humans, have. That's right, the laws of physics run on chutzpah. Just as the spiral turned inward represents endless obsession and
Aren't they
madness,
Uzumaki?
the spiral turned outward spins forever into infinity, the perfect
this is all the
representation of
previous
humanity's
stuff so
evolutionary
far.
potential. Potential Simone would use as he led Team Dai Gurren across the multiverse to take the fight to the anti-spiral. And this is when Gurren Lagann gets crazy. Channeling spiral power lets you constantly adapt to threats, no matter how overwhelming.
That is their, like, probably not their best strat, but one of the best things that they will eventually grow and adapt to exponential degrees. Like ludicrous gaps, they can close gaps in power.
Simon can create portals to different realities and higher dimensions. He can generate force fields, absorb energy attacks, and even merge Gurren Lagann with bigger and stronger machines. Creating the Arc Gurren Lagann, which is strong enough to shatter space and time with a punch. Or the Super Galaxy Gurren Lagann, which can fire lasers that are fast enough to hit, and I quote, all time, space, and dimensions, all within a Planck instant. That's the smallest unit of time physically possible, meaning each...
Does your head hurt yet? Because this was the entire prediction for both characters, basically.
Laser would have to be moving 4.6 times 10 to the 117th power times faster than light. Oh, well, looks like this wins the award for fastest calculated speed feat in our show's history.
Yo, he beat SpongeBob, let's go!
Congratulations, Gurren Lagann. Move over, SpongeBob. You've been dethroned. Oh, and the guidebook says they hit an innumerable number of enemies across infinite universes. You literally cannot calculate how fast that is. But it wasn't enough to escape the Anti-Spiral's greatest trap, the Multiverse Labyrinth, an attack that imprisons Simon in his own unique multiverse, forced to experience an infinite number of alternate realities that controlled his mind, permanently arresting him in a dream world. Except
until
Simon
he
and his
will
spiral
power
power
down
just
a bit
built
now.
different, and after being inspired by his bro, Simon absorbed that whole multiverse to escape. What makes this even more impressive is that this labyrinth was 11-dimensional.
Oh, the bringing up Otoko scaling. Okay, well. 20D space.
Higher dimension. Structures, several orders of
they're not bringing up Otoko scaling. Well, fuck.
Infinity greater
yeah,
than
we
himself.
played ourselves.
The jump between dimensions is basically infinite. Each new dimension adds a new direction of space.
Right, like how a piece of paper can't hurt me. I know paper isn't technically 2D, but fuck, you know, quantum physics.
Infinitely. Thus, an infinite gap in size and scope. What? Oh, we're just getting started. Imagine a two-dimensional drawing interacting with a three-dimensional person. Okay, that's not too far off from what actually happened. Because when Simon absorbed the Multiverse Labyrinth, he merged with every alternate universe version of himself, including an alternate universe Simon who is writing his own alternate universe version.
Wait.
Of Gurren Lagann, and that author's spiral power made his fictional Simon.
So no, now they are bringing up Otoko.
Real, adding another to the mix. Wait, if every human being has spiral power, you're telling me we can all do this shit? This all gave our Simone enough spiral power to form the next step in mech.
Your head hurt yet? Because mine does.
Gurren Lagann. This is when Gurren Lagann gets actually fucking crazy. Like shooting missiles that alter probabilities so they have a 100% chance of hitting you, or tossing galaxies.
You know, Gurren Lagann gave me the best dating advice. Infinitely close to zero is not zero, so it's basically the same as a 100% chance. So just go for it, you know? Go for it.
Around like frisbees. Sorry, did I say galaxies? I meant universes. Simon's power was so immense that he started generating super spiral space, a higher dimension encompassing our own universe. With it, Simon turns his thoughts into reality, letting him create his mech and all of its weapons in the first place. Not only does this mean he no longer needs co-pilots, he can also regenerate any damage done to him or his mech just by willing it back into existence.
Because
like
he's
when Lord Genome used
Chad.
spiral power to survive quantum breakdown. Or the time Nia, now the best wife in the universe, used spiral power to constantly regenerate her body from being erased at the informational level for 7 days straight.
Information in physics is essentially the ones and zeros that make up every possible outcome in reality. Nia literally regenerated from the statistical certainty of her own destruction.
If I have spiral power, Wiz, when the fuck is my leg growing back?
When even this was not enough for the anti-spiral, Simone evolved one more time.
Into Super
Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann.
This mech is so big, its size is literally incalculable. And with a drill somehow even larger than that, Simone and his friends shattered the anti-spiral once and for all.
Hey, cruel indifference of the universe! Meet the indomitable human spirit!
Proving Kamina's words prophetic, that Simone's drill is the drill that would pierce the heavens.
With no more worlds left to conquer, Simone chose to wander the earth for the rest of his days, in service to others.
Always looking up, for all the lights in the sky are stars, and every star another world of spiral cousins that can live free.
All thanks to a humble digger.
Really gotta emphasize the D when you say that.
The universe is a dangerous place. Should you find yourself face to face with an interdimensional vampire, alien dictators, or this one really pissed off cat,
and like that cat.
The Green Lantern Corps. They're the Space Fuzz, an intergalactic police force founded billions of years ago by blue leprechaun gods.
And the greatest Green Lantern among them was everyone's favorite, Hal Jordan.
You know him. You love him. You might hate him, but you gotta respect the man with a will as unbreakable as Hal's.
Until the day
screw Hal Jordan.
After his hometown got completely...
I'm a Guy Gardner fan. I like Guy Gardner. The comics do nothing with Guy Gardner. So yeah, fuck Hal Jordan.
Obliterated, Hal lost his mind. He rampaged through the core, killing everyone in his path, and absorbed the central power battery, the literal Green Lantern,
becoming the Emerald Tyrant, Parallax.
There was
until there was retcon, so he was just possessed by a Parallax demon thing, but whatever.
Only one survivor of Parallax's killing spree, Ganthet. And with what remained of his strength, he gave the last Green Lantern ring in the universe to a human. Kyle Rayner.
So, was Kyle picked for his indomitable willpower like Hal was?
He was just there. He had no idea what was going on. Must feel good.
What? Oh, I did not read a name when I saw this. I thought this said, ooh boy, my mind went to a wild place.
Being given the most dangerous magical weapon in existence to figure out on your own. Hey, if Colonel Sanders, Daffy Duck, Space Wheat, and a sentient fox can master it, what's your excuse, Kyle?
The Green Lantern ring can do anything, fulfilling any wish its user desires as though it were a genie from a lamp.
Yeah, it's a superpower encyclopedia, basically.
Lets you fire energy blasts, create force fields, affect gravity, turn invisible and intangible, manipulate matter, time travel, warp reality, and erase things from existence.
Think we're exaggerating? Well, consider the time Kyle stretched the very fabric of space to increase the Planck length a billion times over. That's like stretching an inch into a light year.
Lanterns control time and space, letting them fly so fast they can create a Speed Force singularity.
Tapping into the speed...
So, now it's two BSDC powers stacked together.
Force requires entering a higher dimension of space, requiring speeds that are not only faster than light, but totally immeasurable. And the rings have an artificial intelligence that operates just as fast, automatically protecting its user from danger.
Like the time that Poozer Kilowog survived being erased from existence by the Crisis on Infinite Earths.
The ring is fueled by its user's willpower and limited only by their imagination.
While Hal may have had the greatest willpower in the core, Kyle's imagination is unmatched, probably because he's a comic book artist. And we know from this show, they think of some wild shit.
But the Green...
Remember when they used to do video game episodes more? Me too.
Lantern's most recognizable ability is their constructs, Kyle's speciality.
Samurai armor, pirate ships, giant dragons, actual working home computers, and his favorite, super fighting robots. Hey, that one
Mecha.
looks familiar.
Kyle can make them strong enough to lift the Spectre, who weighs as much as eternity.
Or hold back a 12.3 dimensional Big Bang. Wait,
As
0.3?
you
DC's
do.
multiverse has 12.3 dimensions? That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
The ring's only downside is that it's limited to 24 hours before needing a recharge.
So it can blow up universes, but it has the battery of an iPhone. Never mind.
Okay,
that's
so
the
never
stupidest
fully
thing I've
runs
ever heard.
out. Well,
Although
that's-
I'd say Kyle's biggest weakness was Kyle. With great power came no responsibility.
Perhaps a manifestation of Kyle's self-doubt. Any reflection came too late, though, when one of Kyle's villains brutally
Got stuffed in a fridge.
murdered his girlfriend, Alex, and put her body in a fridge.
Kyle wasn't the only one traumatized. This moment was so infamous
Still
it
is
started
true.
the trope called fridging.
For how female characters are often sacrificed as mere plot devices to further a male character's development.
So it might surprise you that it happened to Kyle again.
Kyle finally
Skill
got
issue.
serious. He became a prominent member of the Justice League, faced off against Hal, and even rebuilt the Green Lantern Corps better than ever.
But little did he know, this torchbearer's greatest journey had only just begun.
In order to save Ganthet from an emotional lobotomy, it's a long story, he had to master all the colors of the emotional electromagnetic spectrum.
There are 7 colors,
Still more than they ever done with Guy Gardner.
each representing a different emotion. The yellow light of fear lets Kyle manipulate the worst horrors in your mind. The more scared you are
Oh
of
fuck, and they are giving Kyle the life equation.
it, the stronger he becomes.
Orange light is fueled by bottomless avarice, possessing Kyle to absorb not merely his enemies' attacks, but also their souls.
Red is rage, ripping out Kyle's heart and replacing his blood with napalm, which sounds like it sucks, but it's metal as hell.
Blue light is powered by hope and allows Kyle to heal wounds, resist mental domination, and supercharge his ring.
Indigo is compassion, reducing his opponent's will to fight and letting him open portals across space, connecting him to others.
The final one was the sapphire light of love. With it, he can trap enemies within crystal matrices and control their minds. But Kyle only mastered it by forgiving himself for Alex's tragic death.
Oh, self-love. I get it. Must be nice. And with their powers combined, he doesn't just make his enemies taste the rainbow.
The lights of the spectrum merged, and Kyle became a White Lantern with total control over the power of life.
Wiz, I cannot think of an attack more useless in a death battle than something that makes you live.
Empowered by the physical embodiment of all life in the DC multiverse, Kyle is vastly
Well.
more powerful than any other Lantern in existence.
Far stronger than Hal, who could harness the energy of every power battery across the multiverse.
Not only can Kyle instantly
That
heal all wounds,
seems
purify corruption, and resurrect the
busted.
dead, the white light of life is strong enough to go up against threats to all of creation, like the Anti-Monitor.
Okay, so it's not totally useless.
Especially after Kyle visited the Source and
Well.
acquired the life equation. Essentially the source code to reality, the life equation is mathematical proof that life is worth living.
With it, Kyle can also
But Gurren Lagann can overcome mathematical
alter
equations.
all of reality
I
at a
don't-
whim, even threatening the new gods like
This
Darkseid.
is
The life
just
equation,
getting
like its
convoluted.
counterpart, the anti-life equation, is a conceptual artifact from a higher reality, originating in a platonic realm that is, in a sense, more real than we are.
So it's not a shock that the equation made Kyle too powerful.
He struggled to control it, and it subconsciously manifested a being composed of his fears and anxieties. Oblivion. Kyle's greatest weakness was still
Edgy.
himself.
Kyle spent his whole life struggling with the power that the gods granted him, and throughout it all, he always rose to the occasion, carrying the universe on his back.
But ultimately, the only way to stop power from corrupting is to spread it. So Kyle split the life equation into pieces to found his second core, the White Lanterns. And
I
together,
see.
they shattered Oblivion, destroying the self-doubt that plagued Kyle once and for all.
Not bad for a comic book geek from LA.
And now he was the one
Oh,
giving out
you,
rings of
LA?
unlimited power to people who weren't sure if they could command it.
So he
Indeed.
told them the truth. You can't teach someone how to use such power. You have to learn yourself, making mistakes along the way.
But with the power of life at their command, there's no end to their journey, only endless beginnings.
Oh, let's get on to the
Hey,
fight.
remember Beerus versus Sailor Galaxia?
Yep.
No? Well, that's because it was taken off YouTube for being too anime. But we've got a solution. It's our own website. That's www.deathbattle.gg. It's like our own private Patreon,
Oh,
with
nice.
a store for Death Battle merch and a complete Death Battle video archive. It's got episodes that YouTube has banned, blocked, and censored, and there's even more goodies on the way. So check out deathbattle.gg live right now.
Cool.
We've run the data through all possibilities.
Yo, let go.
It's time for a death battle!
Alright, I'm looking forward to the fight.
Alright, I'm not rusty at all.
Hey dude, Green Lantern Officer Kyle Rayner here. Ring says you've got a Class A
Oh, typical Nerk setup.
galactic super weapon, whatever that is. I'm thinking it's the giant mech. Why don't you hand it over?
Gurren Lagann's mine, officer. Just who the hell do you think you are?
They did. No, it's who the hell do you think I am? That's the line, that's the hype moment. Already episode ruined. I got ball on. Okay. And already they're using the wings more creatively than how to.
Tell me about it. 4!
4? That's nothing! My drill will pierce the heavens!
Yo, let's go.
Take it over, Gurren Lagann! That's really cool. I'm a digger.
We do the impossible.
See the invisible.
Touch the untouchable.
Dude,
Break the unbreakable.
If you ain't know,
this is pretty hard, like so. I am actually liking that this is hands-on. Yo, where'd you expect the show? Anime.
Simone the digger. If there's a wall in my way,
Giga Drill Reku. I see they avoided the cosmology debate, so.
Stop fighting. Think about your fear of death, your love of your friends, your compassion for me, your hope for the future. Choose life.
Have faith in the Simon that believes in
This
you.
you. Let's go, Kamina.
super taken over Gurren Lagann. My drill is the drill that will transcend the heavens. Giga drill break!
Reku! Okay. If he pounds to the life equation, Simone might have a chance.
the super weapon wasn't your mech.
It was me.
Then, Simone, I'm
Base.
taking you in brightest day, in blackest night. No evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern fly!
I really hope Simone wins this.
Let's see you grit those teeth!
Oh, fuck!
You'd make a good lantern.
Holy bitch!
You have been chosen.
Holy shit, we
who the hell do you
fucking
think I
won!
am?
Let's fucking go!
KO!
For the guy with the snazzy sunglasses!
When both combatants possess unlimited power, it's hard to judge them by our normal standards.
I'm so
Speed.
fucking
Someone
happy.
can hit an infinite number
One.
of targets all at once, and Kyle can fly
Holy-
fast enough to surpass the normal concept of speed itself.
When you control space
I'm-
and time, things
I'm so
like
happy
strength and
Simone
speed
won.
kind of become irrelevant.
Instead, let's analyze them through a lens more applicable to beings as absurd as Simone and Kyle. Their imagination, their willpower, and their ultimate potential.
First up, imagination. The boundless things they could conjure to use against the other. Both could think up just about anything the other could, like absorbing each other's attacks, fighting across time, anything.
Simone did have a few attacks that Kyle hasn't encountered, like the probability-altering missiles, but it's likely Kyle
Skill
could adapt
issue.
considering his ring could protect against existence being erased across the multiverse.
And in general, Kyle's constructs were a lot more creative than Simone's arsenal, which was mostly drills. Though again, nothing Simone couldn't adapt to with, say, his energy absorption.
They also didn't mention the fate
Imagination is a
manipulation.
draw.
That leaves the other main factor for both characters, the origin of their unbelievable might, their willpower.
And that's
Simone.
really gonna be the winning factor here, since it's the source of everything for both of them. Whoever's got the stronger willpower wins.
Both can manipulate reality on a multiversal scale with their willpower, but we can use dimensions to roughly calculate a difference. This might sound absurd for most characters, but it's necessary for beings as beyond the pale as Simone and Kyle.
The multiverse labyrinth that Simone absorbed contained 11 spatial dimensions.
11
That's
plus
1.3
one.
dimensions less than the multiverse Kyle's power can threaten.
And remember, each numbered dimension infinitely surpasses the one below it.
Which meant Kyle's willpower was stronger at a base level. However, that doesn't necessarily mean Kyle gets the edge, because if there's one thing both of these guys are known for, it's that they can always get stronger.
So to determine the limits of their willpower, we first need to understand their full potential.
Simone's whole deal with spiral power is how he
Is
can constantly evolve to
evolution
get
and
stronger. So just because
transcendence. Let's
Simone starts
fucking
off weaker
go.
doesn't mean he'll stay that way.
Absorbing the multiverse labyrinth required Simone to leapfrog several orders of infinity in an instant. Simone made himself that much stronger through sheer force of will.
More than enough to close the gap with Kyle.
It's the meme, it's the
Especially since
fuck
spiral
you, I'm
power also
stronger
lets him
than-
regenerate his body down to an informational level. Kyle's never destroyed something that thoroughly before.
Without the ability to easily kill Simone, it was only a matter of time before Kyle's ring ran low on charge. Especially since Simone could likely regenerate for at least a week straight, like Nia did. While Blue Lantern Light could boost Kyle's power, he's never jumped several orders of infinity in strength like Simone has.
And while Kyle could manipulate emotions to reduce Simone's willpower, Simone resisting the labyrinth's mental manipulation
Needs
meant
good
he could
luck.
power through anything Kyle threw at him.
Everything, that is, except for the life equation. It originated from a higher level of reality and would have more than even the odds.
Too bad Kyle couldn't control it. It was just as much a detriment to him as an asset,
Oh,
forcing him to
cool.
relinquish it to keep from destroying reality and himself.
Compare that to Simone, who merged with a version of himself writing a version of Gurren Lagann, and using spiral power to make that fiction
Nice.
into reality.
A pretty similar level of reality to the life equation, and a level of power Simone had no trouble embracing and mastering by the end of his story. No matter how you look at it, Simone might start weaker, but his peak will always transcend Kyle's. Isn't that how all of Simone's battles
I'm
usually
actually
go
happy
anyway?
about
That's
this
Gurren
outcome.
Lagann in a nutshell.
So Simone's incredible potential eclipsed Kyle, which means his willpower was
Willpower.
ultimately greater. Kyle may have embodied life itself, but Simone's unstoppable evolutionary potential would shatter even this lantern's light.
Shatter the
I hope
heavens.
Kyle at least dug the fight, because when it comes to death battle losers, he was a dead ringer.
The winner is Simone the Digger.
Next time on Death Battle.
Oh, fuck me. Well, if it's anything like Courage versus Scooby, I might skip it. Well,
Subscribe and join us.
thanks, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all next time.